Welcome to Kitchen Table Guitars. Hello and welcome back. This video I'm going to be taking the neck from lumps of wood up to this stage here, which is starting to resemble a guitar neck, which is a good thing. It's not finished, there's still a fair bit to work to do on it, but I was conscious that the video was going to start getting very long. So without further ado, I'll pass you on to myself. Right, here's my neck blank. It's too thick for one neck, so I'm going to cut it in half with a bandsaw so I can get two necks out of it. The first thing I'm going to do is to plane it all square. We did thickness it on the router sled, so that's all done. So I now need to just plane the side square to it, so that when I put it through the bandsaw, it's all going to work nicely. First, a bit of sharpening. This is where you get to see your own man very stupidly drill into his own finger. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Ah! Not clever. Can anyone spot the nice round hole in my index finger? Don't want you messing with my face. I'm gonna use it for myself. Crawl up to your window, babe. Crawl up to your door. You got everything I want, baby. I'm gonna crawl across your door. I'm gonna crawl in your snake. Yeah. I'll move my damn. Glue joints now set overnight. it's come out nice and strong, so that's all good. There's a little bit of a lip here. There must have been a slight amount of slippage when I clamped it up, but I'll just plane that all flush anyway, so that's not going to be a problem. It's a bit of a problem with the headstock. In order to get the bandsaw marks out, I had to plane down so much of this. This actually turned out to be too small now. So that's coming in now at 12.5 stroke 13 mil, which is probably going to be, too thin for the tuners. See, that's it at the bottom. It's not making it. So we'll have to work out something. I'll probably put something on top and just thicken up the top. The veneer won't be thick enough, but I do have this piece here which I prepared when I was planing everything down. This I was going to use for the control cavity as a control cavity lid. It's 2 mil, so what I'll do is I think I'll just glue that onto there. I might put some veneer in between just to make it look like it was meant to be there, and then that'll sort out the problem. Or I'll find another thin piece of wood and stick it on there, get an extra couple of mil. That's all I need, is a couple of mil on top of there, and it'll be fine. So next thing is going to take this down. Then it's going to be truss rod and carbon fibre stiffening rod routing, which is always scary because if you get it wrong, it's the end of. Right, let's go on with that. That's truss rod done and reinforcement rod's done. Everything's nice and flush. So managed to get the depth correct. One bit though I'm going to work on. So here you can see I've routed straight through what would be, a lot of people they leave a section here, but I've routed straight through that because it was basically just easier. This part of the truss rod is actually wider than there, so I've actually had to cut it in slightly, which means it is holding. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a small patch and glue it in on top here. Fit that in nicely there, and then that will make sure everything's really nicely held, and it will just look a little bit cosmetically nicer. So I'm going to make that. Obviously I want very little glue here because what I don't want is, glue to be making its way into the whole truss rod mechanism, so I'm just going to use a tiny amount of glue. It's a very tight fit anyway, so, and it's going to have the fretboard on it, so it doesn't necessarily need a lot of glue. correct use for a precision instrument. Okay, and we'll let that dry. Next I'm going to clamp the fretboard in place, and then I'm going to drill a couple of location holes here for the toothpick locators, and hopefully this time I can do it without drilling into my finger. And I'm going to put them in the areas here which are going to be cut out, so it doesn't really matter that they're there. I'm going to cut them out anyway, like I did with the location pins on the headstock here on the scarf joint. They're going to be cut away, so I can put them there, no problem. Sorry about that, the camera just ran out of battery just before I'd managed to do the glue off. But anyway, you can see the situation here. I've got a clamping core, and I've clamped it to the granite worktop here, because I know that's going to be nice and flat and it's going to be nice and stable, and so obviously you want the whole thing to be glued as flat as possible. So now I've just got to leave it for, overnight, and I'll be ready to cut out the neck shape.
his body never was found. Girl, don't you lie to me. Tell me, where did you sleep last night? In the pines where the sun don't ever shine. Shiver all night.
So I'm cutting the frets slots by hand using this fret cutting saw. Slot cutting saw. I'll put a piece of masking tape down here at about 2mm as an initial depth stop. Now you'll notice I'm cutting this as it's flat and unchanged, so it means I can use this bit here as a guide, and also, but it's before it's been radiused. Now that means that this is going to alter. So when I radius it, obviously this bit here is going to get shallower. I'm going to have to recut it, but I can then just final size it later on. But I'll know that, you know, the slots are there, so it's going to be quite easy to do. So the thing is that there's some elements to the guitar that don't have to be done particularly accurately. You know, the shape of the headstock maybe, or the shape of the body, and you know, even the profile of the neck. But one thing that absolutely has to be done as accurately as possible is the laying out of the frets from the nut position. Because if these are wrong, your guitar's never going to play right. It's always going to be the intonation's going to be wrong, and it's just going to always sound a bit rubbish. So this bit does have to be done as accurately as possible. Because this is still completely square, this side here, I can use it using the right angle as a guide for the saw, because what you don't want is the saw to be wandering this way. Obviously a fret in an angle like that is always going to be out of tune apart from in one place, so you need to be as accurate as possible. And so I'm using this as a guide. I'm just going to use it to start off and then just finish down to depth. There you go. So I missed a bit of filming here because I went to my mate's to use his bandsaw and his pillar drill, and I forgot to bring the camera. But what I did is I used bandsaw to saw down the profile of the neck, and I also used a pillar drill to drill the front fretboard inlay holes, the dot inlay holes. Now I'm just using a chisel and like some files to finesse the edges of the headstock, which are going to be the dragon's tail.